of India.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The format for today is we'll have a very brief chat, and then we've managed to persuade 3 of the 4 people on the stage to perform, and perhaps we'll be able to persuade the 4th person to do something or the other, but we'll give it a shot. The session is about the healing power of music. So I want you all to tell me, because all of you are musicians who take your music very seriously, all of you practice very hard, all of you have huge followings, and yet, does music have the power to heal? Shubha, let me start with you.
Well, I know that we've all been through an extremely difficult time in the last 2 years, and the companionship of music has really kept me going through those very, very difficult times of enforced captivity and near-death experiences.
Near-death?
Yes, yes. I mean, really? I was really sick.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, but I think...
You look fine, I'm glad to say that.
Yes, I look more than fine, I think.
No, you look fine.
But I think it's the power of music that kept me going through these difficult times, and even otherwise. I think it is possible that the companionship of music of any kind, or any music that you prefer, really provides unconditional healing, support, and a kind of peace that rarely comes from anything else.
So when you say music provides that companionship, is it your own music? Is it all kinds of music?
It's all kinds of music, in fact. With your own music, you have moments of great struggle as well.
Yeah.
When you realize your limitations, your weaknesses, when you try and improve and it's not so easy to improve, you can't get through each time. But when you hear just let's say, bird song,
yeah,
and you feel that, yes, there is hope for a better tomorrow.
That's such a nice line, no? Every time you hear the birds going. But like when you listen to your own music on record, are you critical? Do you say, hey, I'm great? Or do you say, I can do better? Would you?
To be a good student of music, you have to be analytical and you have to be brutal with yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to keep saying that, okay, despite the love and attention I've got from many, many music lovers, I know that there are many, many weaknesses and I need to try and improve on those. Without that, there is no journeying forward.
So after all these years of being a top music star, you're still critical of yourself when you listen to it?
You have to be. You have to be. You have to be able to see the wrinkles in your voice as well.
Okay, all right. Vikram Ghosh, do you think music has the power to heal?
Can I be a little rhythm specific? Rhythm is a
Be
part
what
of
you
music.
Be what you like, yeah.
Well, if you see the power of rhythm
Yeah.
all around you, microcosmically, rhythm is inside us. It's because of the heartbeat that we are alive. So if the heartbeat is good and solid, then we're well, we're not sick. I think the healing power of music, and hence rhythm as well, is extremely strong, because cosmically we're surrounded by rhythm. Everything is a rhythmic cycle. In the Indian rhythmic idiom, so to say, rhythm is a cycle. And if you see, there's a 7-day week, it's a cycle. The 12-month year, it's a cycle. 365 days a year, cycle. Halley's Comet comes back every 75 years. It's all a cycle. So in that cyclic scheme of things, we are connected to the cosmos through rhythm. And everything is powered by it to the extent that our bodies are beating to a rhythm. So yes, of course, there is a huge power that rhythm and hence music has to heal or to even sicken. So we have to use our notes and our beats very, very carefully so that it generates positivity and not negativity.
So when you talk about music, and you're doing this from the perspective of a percussion person, I understand that. Do you think that a lot of the power just comes from the time, from the rhythm, from the beat?
Yes, I do. I do believe that it comes from the beat and from the rhythm, but there's much more to rhythm than just the beat. So just to give you an example, suppose let's look at the premise of human communication. So there is a modulation in our speech, which is rhythm again. There is a tempo in our speech, which is rhythm again. So if I were to say, hi, Mr. Sanghvi, it's wonderful to be here, and I'm really happy to be at the ABP Live, then there is no modulation. But if I said, hi, it's so wonderful to be here, so that is a modulation which is an essential part of human communication. And then there's tempo. Somebody crossing the street and you see a car coming and you want to shout, watch out.
Yeah.
You say, watch out.
If you take that long, the car will run you over. Yeah?
Exactly.
You have to shout,
so you
watch
got
out.
the tempo wrong then. So if your tempo is right and your modulation is right, your communication skills are better and life in general is better.
Yeah, okay. So can rhythm help you relax? Because we associate rhythm normally with getting you going, with dancing, with excitement. But do you think rhythm has the power to make us relax as well?
Yes, of course, because if you think of what is the most powerful relaxation tool, that today for many people is chants.
Yeah.
And chanting is done to a rhythm. It is a cycle of rhythm, anything that you speak or you hear that relaxes you has a rhythm. The rhythm may not be overpowering, but the rhythm is there nevertheless. And I think that if you get the rhythm right and it vibrates to your heartbeat, there is something very calming about it. If you crank it up and make it like club rhythms, then of course you get excited. But otherwise you're sorted with a nice soft tempo going, a tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. It calms you.
So you're saying that when we talk about rhythm, as we often do in terms of bass lines or percussion or whatever, we're making a mistake. Rhythm is how we talk. Rhythm is how we chant. It's much more than, say, just drums.
You're absolutely right. We are making a mistake by not giving rhythm its due credence.
Yeah.
It is much, much more than just dancing to a beat. It is intrinsically woven into our lives on many, many levels.
How interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. Okay, which of you is going to go first? Okay. So do you think music can heal? And you're the right people to ask this because you've heard, from the time you left your mother's womb, you've heard music, right?
So, firstly, namaskar and good afternoon. It's been an honor to be here. So, yes, I actually completely resonate with what was said just now. I think music for us has been a way of life. We never looked at it as a profession. But then again, you know, we were literally in the ocean and we were asked to swim because we had that atmosphere at home. The atmosphere at home was all music. The air we were breathing was music. So for us, we didn't know better.
Yeah.
So that's why it became a way of life. I didn't think we ever saw life outside of music or music outside of life.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. And, you know, music is a reflection of who you are. Your nature reflects through your music. If you're a restless person, your music will convey that.
Yeah.
If you are built a certain way, you know, your music conveys your nature. So that's why the emotions, what Bikram Bhai said, all of that, it's part of who we are. It's part of our DNA. And I think the journey called life kind of shapes you as who you are as a musician. You're a student in this field till the last day you walk this planet. But I think your breakups, your link-ups, your heartbreaks, your heartaches, everything is resonated through your music.
That's interesting. Let me ask your brother if he agrees with you.
All the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, namaskar.
But you accept what he says, that music is not just music for people like you who've grown up with it. It's a language. What you express through music is your life, your mood, from heartache to happiness.
It's a journey. It's completely a journey, and it's still going on. And I am proud to say that as musicians, music can never lie. We can't manipulate through music.
Yeah.
With words you can manipulate, but through music you cannot manipulate. And so what you just mentioned about the healing part, I think good music with good intention is healing. It can be the other way around also.
Why is the intention important?
Sir, वो पुरानी कहावत है, नियत साफ मंजिल आसान. So humility, what my father's taught us, he says, I asked him once, I said, there's so much of tabla, sitar, sarod, vocal happening, what's our future?
Yeah.
He said, well, your biggest competitor is not somebody who's better than you musically, but somebody who's more humble than you. So in our journey, we are taught about lifestyle first, try to be a nice person. you know.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned from Shubhadi, Bikramda, with my seniors. You know, that's what we learn from elders. That why is she loved? Why is he loved? More than the music, it's also your temperament that really matters, I feel.
So, this is probably just a very subjective question, but in my experience, great musicians like you guys with a background in classical are actually much more humble than people with a pop background or a rock background. Why is that?
I think it's a culture. I think it's just a culture because our music is more about, you know, what we've heard from the great ustads and the pandits, you know, what we've learned from them. It's to do with spirituality, I think. Indian classical music is connect with spirituality. And Shubhadi, Bikram, if I'm going wrong, please interrupt. Yeah, please. And also, I think I was smart enough, I think I'm smart enough to do my research.
Yeah.
The only thing that takes a musician or any creative person ahead in life is being grounded and being humble. Because I've seen enough examples just disappearing, unfortunately. So.
And I wanted to ask you that. All of us, we've heard your music, we've heard your father's music, and it transports us to another dimension because it's so good. But that's us as listeners. I know how hard you guys work. I know what a hard taskmaster your father is. I know how he responds if at a concert he thinks you guys were not 10 on 10. So does that pressure ever come in the way? Or once you start playing, does the music just take over?
You see, a guru or a mentor can just convey the path to you. But I think the realization or the sense of responsibility has to come from within.
Yeah.
I don't think that can be kind of thrown upon you. If you don't feel it, then don't do it. And I think that was his reverse psychology with us. He was, I mean, obviously, I mean, my father, I think he was more of a father, and the guru part happened later because we were so young when we were learning. But I think he always left the ball in our court. When we would go up to him and say, how did we perform? He would say, listen to the recording and work it out, sort yourself out. I mean, you know what you should do, or at least you should know the direction or the path you want to take. So he left the ball in our court, and that, I think, made us realize from within, or made us feel the pressure, which happened organically, rather than him imposing it. So that's why I think it was very important that, you know, he was someone who let us do what we wanted to do. Let us listen to all kinds of music, and let us grow as musicians. I think because more you listen, the more you learn. And that's literally, and even today, I mean, there's so much going on. People like Shubhadi, Bikram Bhai, they have always done things outside the box. And they came, I mean, and they have been such purists as well. So it doesn't make anyone a lesser musician. But now, so much interesting work is happening. We all are doing all kinds of things. We recently did a track for Coke Studio with rappers. Because I mean, rappers have become quite the thing in India.
Did with rappers means you rap?
No, I didn't. We played.
Okay,
we stuck.
you did the music.
We stuck to the sarod, and the group was called Seedhe Maut.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I can't see you rapping. I can see your brother rapping. I'm not sure I can see you rapping. Yeah, okay. Shoma, not only are you one of India's most distinguished classical vocalists, you're also somebody who's broken away from just classical music, has done popular songs, has had hit songs and hit records. You've spread joy to people who may not have been interested in classical music. You've made so many people happy. Is that healing for you as well, that you spread so much happiness?
I think for any artist, it's always very, very reassuring to hear people come up to them and say, I heard this song and I was moved to tears, or that I just can't stop myself from dancing when I hear your Aapke Sawan, or something like that. And this is a song that is over 20 years old. So in a music industry where songs just last for a few weeks, it's wonderful to see that happened, and that people are still listening to these songs. That gives me that little pat on the back and reassurance that yes, there are people listening. But at the same time, I must say that if eyebrows were to go into hairlines to say, oh my God, what has she done? I don't think I could still stop myself from trying to work with other forms of music.
You would do it anyway?
I would do it anyway.
Why?
Despite, I think as a student of music, I'm curious. And I am delighted at the fact that I'm getting opportunities to work with different kinds of disciplines and forms of music. Why would I not want to learn from that?
Yeah.
So I feel that all of these experiences have been enriching for me, and I value those experiences. I don't consider them as experiences that have led to my straying away from what I set out to do in the first place.
And experiences that have made millions of people happy, no? You
Yes,
spread joy.
That's true, and not just because of me, but because of the wonderful people who wrote these songs,
Yeah,
composed the music.
You're being humble, but
No,
basically it is your songs.
Well, their contribution can't be denied.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
okay. Vikram, how much of this, when we talk about rhythm, I always wonder how much of rhythm is international and how much of it is Indian in our case, or does it cut across all boundaries? Because say you're playing the sitar or whatever, the rags are almost by definition Indian. But with rhythm, you have more rhythm. No? You have more space and more freedom to do things. There's that famous story about Allah Rakha going in the 60s to a club where Buddy Rich was performing, and he went there and he just blew all of them off stage. So sometimes I think we lack an understanding of how gifted our musicians are and how great our rhythm tradition is.
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. Rhythm in its essence cuts across nations, cuts across pretty much anything. But Indian rhythm in particular has a tremendous tradition, has a fantastic history of understanding of not of rhythm as life. So the whole concept of the circular rhythm, which is the tala structure.
Explain that, so I'm not sure everyone understands that concept.
We as Indian percussionists, we think of rhythm as a tal. We are taught to think of it as a tal.
Okay.
Imagine a clock. So you have a 16-beat tal called teen tal, which is the simplest and the most popular. So you have a clock with a 1 at the top, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, back to the 1. And you keep going in rotation with that, which is why I said before that everything in the cosmos is in rotation, you know.
Yeah.
Indian rhythm was taught in that way, connecting it to the cosmos, because it's a very, very old tradition. And rhythm in India is a philosophy. It's not just a beat or a groove. So in that context, the way we see tala is so refined. And then we put syllables to tala. And syllables are like a language.
Yeah.
So in teen tal you say dha, dhin, na, da, dhin, like that. And these syllables are all onomatopic. You can play those syllables identically. They are played exactly the way that you speak them. So that gives the tradition a great fillip. It gives the tradition tremendous power, because you can talk to somebody and just say, instead of saying, "How are you? It's so wonderful to see you," you can say, "Kardhati dhage na da, dhati dhage na tu na ke na," you know. So that gives the versatility of the rhythm is huge. And I think in the West, when they see that, the depth of the tradition, and it comes out in an instant, like as you said, the great Allah Rakha Sahib had done a small solo and they were blown away.
Yeah.
That happens because the tablas are just a pair of simple looking drums. It's not even like a drum kit where you have so many, you know, parts to the kit. You play it with hand, but incredibly intricate technique. So you have to master this drum, you're looking at least 20 years of learning. So that, I think, is now slowly and over the many decades getting to the international audiences, and people are understanding that this is a monster drum. It's not just a little, you know, fellow sitting there and kind of, you know, it's a monster drum. So there's a lot of power in Indian rhythm, which I think the whole world is waking up to now.
And a lot of talent. I remember George Harrison once said that he thought any great Indian tabla player could do what Ringo Starr does, but Ringo couldn't do what any of us people do.
Interesting that you should say that, because I played with George. His last album I played on Brainwashed, and he always had that, it was not just rhythm. He felt that way about Indian music in general. Yeah. He thought that the sitar had, the sarod or the sitar had incredible power. Yeah. And that is why he was playing the sitar and learning from Panditji, from Ravi Shankarji. Yeah. Yes, there is incredible power in the drumming tradition. Just imagine two hands with two completely different techniques as to play the tabla and the baya. And this, the right hand is like this and the left hand is like this. And each finger is a unit, unlike, say, for a conga player, where the whole hand is a unit.
Yeah.
So this intricacy gives it a lot of depth, and the subject matter and the literature, the sahitya of tabla is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Is your throat okay? You'll do one stanza, one of your songs? Not right away? All right, okay. I'll push you into the next time. You guys want to perform? You have something?
Sure.
Yeah.
They can give me a lead and I can play with them, and then
All right, okay.
So this
let's
is
see
the
how it goes.
magic. This is the magic of Indian classical music, that we've all met after ages, and we don't know what we are going to do, but it'll all happen here as we play for all of you.
We're cooking it here as you listen and watch.
So we'll play with a tribute to the great iconic poet and composer, the great Rabindranath Tagore ji. And Bikram bhai will do something interesting, and then we'll sum it up with a fast composition.
Great.
Thank you.
Take it away. Let's go.
discussed the heartbeat and how it's relevant. So here goes.